Hey everybody, how's it going? Sword Kibo, how are you doing? Gamer Harold, Giovanni, how are you? Hey, long time no see, bye. All right, Mystic Nacho, good to see you. Hope you're all doing wonderful. This is once again another dev stream. I am doing a tutorial recording. Turn this off. I'm doing a tutorial recording, creating some simple Unreal Engine tutorial stuff for a class. So I will have my camera off in just a moment. Probably I will just mostly respond to people via chat. That will make my editing easier. But I thought, since I'm online recording some stuff anyway, might as well say hi to the community. I want to. I've said it a million times that I want to do more stuff like this, and there's no time like the present. Present. Okay, so without further ado, we'll just get started. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Hopefully everything is working. All right, I'm going to turn my camera off now. As soon as I get confirmation that the audio is working. Maybe it's not, and I don't want to start recording without audio. Oh. And coughing. And coughing. All right, let's do this then, I guess. I'll just, I'll test out my audio. Oh, it's working. I can hear it. Animate Zach, how's it doing? Hopefully this will be one of many. Animate Zach, I'm actually doing a recording for class, so I'll respond to you in the chat, but I'm gonna go faceless. I'm gonna pull an Animate Zach and go faceless. Okay, so let me show you what we're doing. GMC Google, how's it going? All right, let's turn this off. Okay, so here's what we're going over today. We are making a very simple 2D platformer. This is the one I went over in class yesterday, but that was like an hour and a half long session in class, so it was very long. So now I'm hoping to do an abbreviated one. But essentially, in a previous class, we had done the coin pickup blueprint in Unreal Engine, and now we're going to create some spikes that will kill the player or just reset them to the start of it, and then create some moving platforms, and then a couple of enemies, and I'm going to show you the different kinds. So here's the scene that we're going to recreate here in just a moment. Let's hit play. See our little side scroller character here. We'll go over moving the camera back too. But we created this spike pit that if you fall on it, just using some of the starter content, we're creating a little explosion effect and then restarting the player back at the beginning. But the idea is to create this beautiful platform that we can traverse safely across this sea of spikes and make it over to this vertical platform to go back up. Right now it's moving pretty slowly, but we're going to show how to create this in a way that we can quickly edit its start and end location in the scene, as well as how fast it goes. So here's a quick enemy. So using the similar technique from the little spike, he's just ping-ponging back and forth on a set path. But if you touch him, once again, he takes you out. We're gonna speed run this. We can do this. We're gonna speed run over to the section. We missed our up ramp, but then we're gonna create a third enemy that will kill you if you walk into him, but you can jump on him and kill him before he gets you. So those are the three assets we're going to create today. And the idea, based off of the lecture from the last class, is creating kind of this sandbox mode, or this environment, kind of like a playground, where you can put all of these assets in there and play around with them and find the fun in your game. So this one, same thing. If you touch his spikes, he'll kill you. But if we land on his head, we can kill him before he gets us. So that's what we're going to create today. So I'm going to exit out of that. I'm going to actually start brand new and fresh. Save our little file here. But we're going to build all this from scratch, but not completely from scratch. Unreal Engine 5 doesn't have a template in it for side scrollers anymore, so there's a fantastic tutorial that you can use to follow to get to this point here on YouTube. It's the one I used for this template, but then I created this file as well. I can definitely add this. It's added to Canvas right now, but I could add this to the YouTube video as well for anyone who wants to hop in and grab it. I don't mind. But this is a little side scroller template for level design. So we are going to make sure Epic is all closed. And we're just going to double click on that to start it up. It is made in 5.3.1, but we'll work on later editions of Unreal Engine. We're in 5.3.2 now, I believe, so it should start up. It may take a minute, though. See if it'll pop up for us. There's Unreal trying to think. It's trying to think. It's actually opening in the second window. Slide it back over. GMC Google says, wait, you use Canvas also? Yeah. Ainsley Cora, how are you doing? Welcome from Ubisoft, my friend. Ainsley, hope you're doing awesome. This is for my intro to level design class at the University of North Texas, and we did this demo in class. These are students who have never touched blueprints before, so I'm trying to give them enough to get them in trouble. That's the goal. So this is the demo for them. Obviously, we're waiting for Unreal to open up again so I can edit this part out, but it's good to see you. I decided while I'm at it, might as well do some Twitch and YouTube for it. Okay, so here's the template as created. So we're gonna hit play. So this sets us up with a simple side scroller template. I left like a little ramp and a physics object in there. And so we're gonna do this. We are going to start out by making this look a little bit nicer, kind of like the previous one. Any kind of set dressing you can do always helps out. But here's what we'll do. We'll take this ramp, we'll make it a little bit bigger. We'll try to recreate what we saw earlier. Ainsley, you are awesome. Okay, here we go. So let's create some stuff in here. Let's create a box to start us out with. So we'll go into our shapes, go to the cube. This will be that cube that we'll kind of start out with. Give us something to have fun with. We're gonna do all of this really quick. All the stuff we want. Just using the scale tools, kind of get this up to that size-ish. All right, these are some little boxes for us to play with. And I wanted to create like a pit between the clay. This is where we'll put the spikes in here. That one, but basically we want to get from point A to point B. And like we said before, there's some really quick ways just to add some visual interest to level so it doesn't just look super plain. One of the things I like to do is take this wall, raise it up, and we will just duplicate another one, bring it out, and turn this into some pillars to create just some quick visual interest behind the player. This is something that isn't something I'll necessarily keep, but right off the bat, I just don't like looking at the blank walls. I'm just going to add a few pillars just to get us started. Wanted to make this longer. Select all of these. Hold down Alt, drag it on down. Play space. That is awesome that you're at Ubisoft. What part of Ubisoft? Okay, here we go. All right, so let's check it out. Here's our little play space now. We can run, we can jump. I can actually make that. So since I can make that, we want to make it a little harder on the player. We're going to move it back a little bit. There we go. So now we have this gap to jump. And to get us started, we're going to start right off by creating a little bit of danger in our level. So we're going to start with primitive objects, and we are just going to create some spikes, something inside this this pit for us to fall into. So let's go here to create again. We're going to, basic shapes are always your friend. So we're just going to grab a cone, set it down here. And we need to make this cone a little bit more dangerous looking. So we're going to create a couple of colors to change on this. And I think the way I'm going to do it, just to make it easier on us, is we're going to create groups of 3. So I'm going to recreate this in just a second. But now we need to create a material. So this is something we've talked about in class, but we'll do it yet again. We're going to go to our content drawer, right click, click on material. And we'll call this mat underscore SS for side scroller underscore red. We're going to create a red color, and then we're going to create a blue color. Just because that's what's going to jump on the top of the enemy's head later. But red and blue should get us going here. Just because red is a basic danger color. Right here you have a blank material card. We're just going to paint this red, so under base color, drag this out, and then type in constant. That will give you a constant, a drop down with a constant 3 vector. That gives us our 3 color coordinates, essentially, our RGB colors. Over here on the left, we'll double click on that little color swatch, choose a red color, make sure the tonal value is set somewhere. Actually, at least it doesn't start in black anymore. Set that up around a little bit, just until you get like a nice red color. Hit OK. That's all we're going to worry about for now. And we're going to save that out. Actually, I want it to be a little brighter red. Harsher red. That'll work. We'll just go with it. Hit save on that. We're going to go down. We're going to go back to our cones. Go over to the right under the materials. And we can just type in red and choose that new red color that we chose. And you can see they are now more dangerous. Defiant pew pew. I love it. Okay, so now we have our 3 cones. That look dangerous for us, right? And if we wanted to, we could quickly hold down Alt and drag those out, put them all out, creating a moment of tension here, our little platformer. 2 of them more here. Now if you hit play again, we're always playing and testing. Notice if you run and jump on those spikes, it doesn't do anything. You just land on them. They have collision. That's not what we want. So now that we have a general block out of what we're trying to create, we want to make sure the player knows that they're not supposed to jump across this. We are going to go back in our content drawer. We're going to now create a spike that will kill you. Swiss Chicken, good to see you. Okay, right click our blueprint class here. Select that. We're going to select actor. And we are going to type in, we'll call this BP for blueprint underscore SS underscore, we'll call it death cones. Call it death cones. That works. Okay, so this will be our death cones, and we're basically going to replace these cones that are in our scene. So what we'll do, we'll zoom in here. In fact, let's get rid of all these. And we are going to go back into, there are a couple ways we can do that. I could have left all those cones there, created a trigger volume that would reset the player when you land on it. But I wanted to create something that's a little bit more modular, especially with this toy box assignment that we have. We want to stay modular, keep things going. So we'll hit our content drawer again, go to our death cones. I'm going to drag it right out into the scene. And right now you can see it's just a placement node. It's not really doing anything. But if we double click on it, this will start up. It's having issues. Is our computer going to crash? Oh no. Please don't crash. It's loading. It's loading. There it goes. Okay, great. We're still alive. Okay, so we're going to put some cones in here now. So this is our blueprint node. We have the viewport, the construction script, and the event graph. We are going to be using the viewport and the event graph. So in our viewport, we want to create those static mesh we created before. So we're going to start with one spike. So under here in the components, we're going to click add and type in cone and just grab that cone. And you can see it's a cone just like we had previously. And we're going to set it kind of on 0, 0, 0, so I can just set it flat with the pivot, and you can see here's where it lands in my scene right here. About the same size as it was before. We're just going to go with the default cone size. We do want to, one of the things we want to do is turn off the collision for it, because we just want you to go, just to make life easier. We could leave the collision on. With these ones, it really doesn't matter. We'll just leave it on. I usually turn it off, but for this one, we'll leave it on. And so, what do we want to do? We want to change the color. So we're going to go to the material, type red again. There we go. So now we have a red cone, but I don't want to just place one of those. That's a lot of work. I think 3 is always a good number to place. So we're going to right click on the cone and duplicate. Then we can slide it out to the side, and I'm going to make sure in my screen that it's sliding in the right direction that I want, not on the z-axis. Let's do this again. Okay, one more. It's perfect. I'm going to compile that. We're going to look at it really quick. You can see this makes my life kind of easier because now this is an instanced object. We have these 3 spikes. And I can now duplicate just three of them at a time. This one will overlap with this cube, but I will just go ahead and make this a little bit. It all matches up. Those are our death spikes right now, but right now they're exactly like they were before. They have collision, they're not hurting the player. So now we need to make these things reset the player for you. When you touch it, just gonna hit save real quick out of habit. Okay, so now that we have what we want visually, we now need to create some logic to this. We need to create some events. When you actually touch these, we want you to hurt them. So to do that, we're going to create a collision around these, a trigger box, which means just to be safe, I am actually just going to turn off the collision, guys. So go under the collision presets, I'm going to say no collision. So you just pass through them. That way I am just using a set box collision. So I'm going to add collision. Go. Right here under box collision, we're going to add a box right here, and we are, oops. We'll call it death collision. Our death collision box. Scale this up. We're going to be generous. Player touches it, they die. There we go. There's our collision around this. So now if you touch anywhere inside this box, that's when we want it to reset the player. Hit compile, we'll save that. Now we're going to go into the event graph. We're going to delete this stuff. And now on overlap, basically when you enter that trigger, we want to do something for it. So we're going to type an event. Begin overlap. Right here, that's the wrong one. Event actor begin overlap, here we go. So when the player walks through that, we want it to do something. But we want to make sure it's the player and not anything else. So when something interacts with it, we want to check if it's the player. So we're going to say cast to BP underscore SS or SS player. Type in SS character. That's BPSS character was the name of our character, and other actor. Make sure that we are checking for that. Now, when we have that happen, we want it to reset the game or open up a new level. So when we do that, begin overlap, open level. So we'll type in open level by name, and by default it's none. The name of our level is SS underscore sandbox. Type that out, and so basically what this says is when you overlap the collision, if you're the character, you will open the game, essentially resetting the game, and start over. So we're going to hit compile and save, see what happens. And we're going to hit play. Here we go. So if we walk into those spikes, immediately resets your game. We don't really have any visual cues. We always want the player to kind of know what happened. So now we're going to change this up a little bit. We want an effect and a particle effect to actually happen when you hit it. So we're going to create those now really quick. We'll go back into our folder. And we will move the open level by name over, holding Alt and right click or left click. We can that connection, and we're going to drag off. So now when we overlap, check if it's a character. If it is, we are going to spawn an emitter at location, and that emitter is going to be an explosion. We're just going to do an explosion effect, because that's what's in the default. It is super loud and crazy. And then the location for that. For the location, we're going to get the actor location. Type in get actor location. And we're just going to use our spike actor to do this quick. And off of that, we say spawn sound. Sound location. And we are going to click on the corresponding explosion sound. Drag the location onto that same location node. And then we are going to play open level after that. Here we go. So check if you've hit the spike trap. Are you the player? If yes, spawn an emitter at the location, which is our explosion effect. Play a sound and open the new level. Let's see how this works. Play. Walk into the spikes. We didn't see the explosion. So it all tried to do it at the same time. Before the emitter could spawn there, it opened up the level, basically stopped it all. So we need to have a little bit of a time delay in between when that all happens. And so we are going to... We're going to go back to our spike, and we're going to add a delay to it. So after all that happens, before we open the level, we are going to add a delay. So we're going to type in delay. And this is a little timer node. It basically says, after you play the particle effect and the sound, wait a certain duration and then open the level. By default, it's 0.2 of a second. We're going to set it to a half a second. So 0.5, and then drag this off and then open the level. And this should do it for our spike trap. We'd hit play. Walk off into the spikes. They blew up. You saw the explosion a little bit. At least it let the player know what's going on. And I think we don't have sound turned on. So I need to make sure we have turn on desktop audio so you can actually hear that. Let's play it again so you can hear the beautiful explosion sound. There it goes. Let me know if you can hear that. Okay, here we go. So we're done. Step 1, we got the spikes done. Step 2 now, we need to create a way to safely get across this gap, because even with our incredibly high jump, we can only make it about halfway. So we need the moving platform that we've all come here for. Clover says, boom. Okay, here we go. So let's create our platform now to get us safely across this sea of spikes. And so we're going to go into our content drawer again. And we are going to do the same thing. We're going to click right click, a blueprint class, select an actor, and we're going to call this BP_SS platform. This is our moving platform. Okay, so if we drag this into our playing field right here, you can see it once again is just a locator. Set it right here in the middle. But we need to create a platform on that. Basically, we can just start with a cube. It just makes sense. Jesse says, I feel like game design is like math. It doesn't make any sense until you really practice it. The only difference with math is that this is actually fun. I hear you, man. Yeah, it definitely takes practice. This is something that I can't do every couple classes and then remember it. It's something I have to practice all the time. And so part of this is me practicing as well. So absolutely, you have to practice it. Okay, so let's open that back up. We're going to go to our platform actor that we just created. There's nothing in it right now, so we're going to add a component. We're going to add a cube. And as you can see, it appears right here in the main screen. But I want to scale this and make it feel more like a platform size. Scale this down a bit. And I'm also going to widen it, make it a little bit. That looks pretty big. We're going to make it about the size of a 4x4. Okay. Hit compile and save. Let's see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. That's a nice, good-sized platform there. We basically want it to ping pong back and forth. So it's about the same size here. And by default, I think I should be able to just probably make it to that. Yep. So it's about right in between here. So if it's not moving, it's actually a good-sized platform just to sit there. But we want this to move. So we're going to do that. So to make this move, we need to do a few things. We need to add a component node that will allow it to be moved. And that is called an interp to movement component. So we're going to add that. Just start typing in interp. And there's this interp to movement node. This is what tells that static object or this actor that it can be moved. Now the next step, we need to create a few things. One of them, to make our life easy with this, we want to be able to place this in our scene and then tell it to move to different positions. And it's always nice if you can do that right in the scene. So we're going to create some handles or some locators that we can use to tell this platform where to start and where to stop. This is also highly editable. So if you're in your level and you're not happy with where it's placed, we want to be able to easily adjust that to play around with our toy box here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple variables to do that for us. So under here in the variable component, we're going to create two vector nodes. One's going to be location 1. Actually, we'll call it start point and end point. And we want these to be a vector. Type in vector. Create another variable here called endpoint. And then we actually want a third one too. We want to know how long it takes to get to point A to point B, or how long it takes to get from start point to end point. We're going to create another one called duration. I mean, it could be move duration. We could pick a better word, but we'll just call it duration. And that one, we actually want it to be a float. We just want it to be a set number. Make our life easier. I already know that on that, we actually want a default value on that duration so that it doesn't start at 0 if you haven't inputted a number right off the bat. And then on these, we also want to be able to see them. So this one, the float duration, we want that to be instanced editable, which means if we create duplicates or instances of this platform, I want to individually edit the duration on each of them. Some of them we may want to be 2 seconds, some of them we may want to be 5, some of them we may want to be 10. So clicking the instant editable allows you to change that. And the same goes for these vectors. We want them to be instanced editable. And then we also want to see a 3D widget in our level. So that we can edit within the level. So we're going to click on those. We're going to say instanced editable and show 3D widget. We're going to hit comply. Now if we look in our scene, you can see that those vectors popped out. So now they started at the 0, 0, 0 of my object. I can actually now select the start and end. So here's the end point. We'll move it over to this side and take our start point, slide it over to this side, and basically we'll know where this platform is going to be moving. A couple other things we need to do before we tie this all up and actually get it functioning We also need to create a start and endpoint associated with that interp node, as well as a couple other little things here. So we're going to go back into our blueprint. And this is the most complicated of them all. So we're going to go back into this blueprint, hit our interp to movement node, and we're going to change one of the things. We need to decide whether it just goes from point A to B and that's it, or what kind of behavior we want this platform to have. And if you look under the behavior node here, you can see that it has one shot, and then reverse, loop reset, or ping pong. So we're going to use ping pong. We just want this thing to ping pong back and forth. If we wanted to create more complex logic, we could do more with it as well, but we're not. We just wanted to ping pong back and forth. My goal with this is just to give my students enough knowledge to get in trouble and to have fun with it. So here we go. So did I just open up? Oh, I opened up my character. Okay, so we'll go back to our platform right here. It's on ping pong, and then we also want the control points. The control points are actually the input on your interp to movement that tells it which points to go to. So we need 2 control points for that. Duration is set to 1 automatically, but we have a duration node that's going to fix that. And we are going to change these control points to 2 of them. We need 2 members, 2 index 0 and index 1. These are the control points we're going to pipe in. Technically, we could have as many control points as we wanted. We wanted our platform to do some complex things like move around a corner or go do a zigzag pattern. We can do that with more control points. We're going to hit compile on that, and then we're going to now go into the construction script. This is where we're going to program this platform to do. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our interp to movement component, drag it off into the construction script, and set it down. Now we need to look for a set control points for our interp to movement. So we're going to see. I always lose this one. See if we can set. There's a reset control points and a set control points under here under control. This is what we want to use. This is what plugs the control points into our variable. When this construction script sets off, we want that to set. We want it to use those control points to tell this interp to movement where to move this platform. And then we also want to set the duration for this as well. So once it's set the control points, we want it to tell it the duration. So we'll say set duration here. And you can either set that by default, or we can drag out our float, say, do a get for that, type that into the duration so that we can edit that within our control panel on the scene. By default, it's 5 seconds. So, and then next, we need to actually put our control points in this section. So we are going to drag out the start point, get start point, drag out our endpoint, get endpoint. And we need to make these into control points. So if we drag off these, let's see if we can easily make interp control point. Bada bing, bada boom. There's one. We can just control C, control V. We can just copy that one. Here's our endpoint. And we need to pipe both of these into the array. We're going to say make array. Add another pin to it for both of those. With this, you could add as many points as you want. We just want 2. Pipe that array in there. So start to finish, this is our platform. It should be all done now. So we're going to compile and save. We've got an error. Let's see what it is. We do not have a target. Do not have a target for our duration. So we're going to drag our interp to movement node. That is going to change our duration. Hit compile again. And it looks like we are free and clear. So we're going to hit play now. And as you can see, we have a platform now moving back and forth. Mr. Schleen, nice to meet you. Oh, I died. Okay. for it to come back. Actually, I think I want to pull it so it comes back a little bit further, but we're going to jump for it. All right, so now we can make it over our sea of spikes. Feels so good. But we want to show the versatility of this, so just like we showed you with the first project. Over this large of a span, it kind of goes kind of fast. But now I want to show you if we want to go vertical, it's pretty easy too. So we're going to take this piece right here, move it over here, and I want to be able to now take it up. Create this wall right here that we pass. Hold it down, Alt, moving this up. We want to get up to the top of this ramp now. So we are just going to hold down Alt, and you can see I can duplicate this platform. Now I can just take these start and end points, put them to the start and end of this. Now I can create a vertical ramp to get us up here to the top. See how it works on our little side scroller game that we're building out. Wait for our platform. Should come in closer, but it didn't. How sad. I died. I'm still not very good. One thing we could do is have that start and stop and then give it a little moment so I can get onto it. Obviously, I messed it up. But now you can see I could go in and change the speed duration. I could change a lot of things. Any of this stuff is changeable. But now I can get to the top. And I could recreate as many of these instances as I wanted, reuse those platforms in multiple different ways. I could even scale them individually. And it basically means I don't have to recreate that tech. I can create a whole game around just these moving platforms. But what we want to show you now is we want to combine these two. I now want to combine the spike with the platform and create a moving enemy so that once we've made it through this journey in this little play section, we now have something else to take on. So here we go. Oops. So let's now combine the spike with the platform and create something that will hurt the player. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our content drawer. We're going to right click on moving platform and we're going to duplicate that. And we are going to rename it to crawling enemy. So now we have a moving platform that is really just a crawling enemy. We're going to double click that because this has all the movement stuff already baked into it. I don't have to change anything, right? So this will make my life a lot easier. So if I go to my event graph now, I'm going to actually, or sorry, my viewport, I'm going to delete the cube. And now we're going to create a little crawling enemy. I'm just going to do this really quick. We'll compile that. We'll go to component, add sphere. Create a sphere right there. I'll make this super easy. We got our sphere. We're going to click add again and create a cone. Okay, we're going to pull this cone up here and we're going to create some spikes. To make this look dangerous. Scale this down just a pinch. Duplicate the cone. Put the cone in the sphere. I'm just going to put we'll just leave it. Okay, so we got our cone. Duplicate it. Another one. Something you definitely wouldn't want to jump on. That's the goal here. Duplicate again. All right, good enough. A creepy little crawly. And we're going to paint it red because it needs to look dangerous. Under our material, we'll type in red. Oh, it's red now. And I'm also going to remove the collision. Collision presets. Go to no collision. Okay, so now we just have an enemy we can just walk through. I'm going to just show you really quick, but I want to show you how easy it is to just reuse the logic from the spikes that we created to show it. I didn't put it in my level though. That's the problem. We wanted to have it up here crawling around. And I'm going to leave a safe spot here for the player to land. And then I want this creepy crawly guy to be walking across some of these platforms. So the player gets up on the ramp, has a safe spot here, jumps over here to avoid this creepy crawly dude. So if we go in our content drawer, we'll drag him out. And there he is. And we want him to move from one end to the other. So we can just grab these points on it. Here's our end point. Here's our start point. And he will be moving back and forth and give the player something to avoid. Let's see if that's working. The one thing that's really missing this level is the pickup. We know how to create a coin pickup in one of the previous classes. So there it is. And so there's our enemy right there. Pretty easy to avoid, but gives us something that definitely looks dangerous that we don't want to touch. And right now, we can just pass through it. It has no collision. So we want to make this hurt the player when he touches it. So this is really simple to do now that we created the spike trap. So we're actually going to go into our spike trap and just drag over all the logic that we created for that and hit Control-C. We're going to Control copy that. Now we're going to go into our crawling enemy, go into its event graph, just delete all the goodies that it came with, and Control-V. We're going to Control paste. And all of this, we now have the event actor begin overlap. We're checking to see if it's the player. And we're playing that explosion, we're playing the sound effect, short delay, and then restarting the level. I highly, highly recommend that when you create your levels, you do go look for your own sounds and definitely change the crawling character to look like something unique to the style of level you're doing. This could be anything from a little bomb. I mean, actually, a little bomb would actually be perfect. So it's like a mine you're touching instead of just a red spiky thing. But we're going to hit compile and save. And now let's see how this works. Oh, I totally touched it. I'm gonna jump for it. We're gonna see if we can make it. Oh, I thought we could make it. I so badly wanted to speed run. This is where the tuning comes in. As level designers, you can go change a lot of. But let's make our way back up. And by the way, I could have gone over the creation of all of these objects and just left them right in the middle of the floor, which would have been a lot faster for testing. But wanted to create a fun little experience here as we're doing. So here's our enemy. Oh, it's not doing anything. It is not doing anything. Let's see what we did wrong. Let's go back into our content. All right. We compiled it. We didn't add collision. We didn't add collision. It occurred to me, I'm like, seriously, why isn't that starting? We did not add collision to our crawling enemy. Let's go back into our viewport. We removed the collision on it, so just so we wouldn't get hung up on it, so we'd kind of pass through it and feel good. But let's add a sphere collision to it. There it is, sphere collision. We need something to collide into. And we'll just call this death collision as well. There we go. And let's scale it up. Where are you, collision? There it is. There's our collision. You don't want it quite that big. Maybe something like that. Okay, you touch the enemy, you're toast. Combine, save. Let's try it again. We needed something to overlap, everybody. Go up, up, up. And we accidentally land on it and we're dead. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I wanted to create one more thing before we hang up. I wanted to be able to kill the enemy. So now we're going to do this again. We're going to do this again, but we are going to create one where we can jump on the enemy and kill it, so we feel a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger. We use a lot of the same code on this. So let's do this. Let us go to our content drawer. We're going to create a second enemy type. We're going to double click on him. Oop, not double click because we want to duplicate him. So we're going to duplicate this little character, and we're going to call him enemy weak. He's our weak enemy. Double click on that. We're going to look in the viewport, and we're going to remove that top spike because we want to be able to jump on him right there. And then just to make sure the player can see that you're not going to get hurt, we're going to move these to 90-degree angles. So the player knows you do not want to touch this dude from the side. It will bite. Not something you want. Okay, so now we have a character moves left and right. And you can jump on it, but it's still red, so it doesn't really read that you can jump. You can or should jump on it. The other problem is this death sphere is going up. So I am actually going to delete the spherical collision and create another one. We're going to create box collision now, so we have a little bit more control. So let's go add collision. We're going to do a box collision right here, and we're going to make it kind of long so it goes over the spikes. Then we are going to duplicate this one, create one more box collision up above, and we're going to flatten it out. So this is the one, if the player jumps on it, we can defeat this enemy. That's our plan. That's our goal. Let's see if it works. Sit this right on its head. But we want to add a little more. Mario Maker Kaizo, how's it going? We want to add a little bit of let's add a place to jump on it. And let's rename these. So this collision is this is death collision. And the top one we will call kill collision. So we know exactly what they're supposed to do. We have the death collision and kill collision. So this big one, if you touch it, you die. If this one, you kill the character. That's our goal anyway. So let's go up to that now, and let's create one more component. Let's create one more component here. Let's add a cylinder that will kind of act as like, hey, this is where you want to land on this. It's his hat. Okay, we're giving him a hat. We're saying land on that hat, and you will destroy the character. This one I'm actually going to leave the what's the word we're looking for? I'm going to leave the collision on that one, so you kind of land on it. That way I won't go through to the other one. Is Mortal Kombat stuff okay here? Here we go. So we're going to hit compile and save. And now we're going to go into the event graph to fix this all up. So right now we're looking over event begin overlap. We're looking for all the collision in this entire thing. So we actually don't want to use that one. We want to use on component begin overlap, because we want to see if it goes through a component of this object. So actually, here's how we'll do it. We'll select our death collision. And over here on the right, you'll see, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see different events that you can use off of that object. And one of them is on component begin overlap. So we're going to hit plus on that and create that down here. And you can see in parentheses, it says on component begin overlap, parentheses, death collision. So we're basically saying we only want you to check if the death collision is being overlapped. We'll say yes, it is. If it's overlapped, we want to go to the object. We want to see if it's the character, and basically we want to kill the player. We want one more. We're going to go to kill now, and on component begin overlap, create another node. And if we land on this one, we want it to destroy the actor. that actor. So I'm going to copy and paste all this code from down below, paste it right up here, and delete the actor begin overlap. Tie this all back in. Overlapped component right here is the object. This one's different. We want it to spawn the sound. We don't want it to delay anymore. We don't want it to open the level, and we just want it to destroy the actor. So we're going to, off of the spawn sound at location, we're going to say destroy actor and itself. So it's going to destroy that character. And we're going to hit compile and save, and let's see if this works. So it didn't compile. We had an error. Let's see what our error is. Warning. Let's see what our warning is. Does not inherit from primitive component cast to be fill. We're not looking from the right thing. Overlapped component. Oh, we did it wrong. Okay, other actor. Here we go. That's what we wanted. It was looking at to see if it was with itself. We want the other actor. To hit compile again. Okay, that fixed the problem. So we want to check if it's in the death collision, and the other actor, that's the one actually overlapping it, would be that one. All right, let's see if this all works. I'm going to compile, hit save, and play. And we didn't place our character. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1 second, my friends. Let's actually put our character in the scene. So up here, we're going to do another one. So if you survive this guy, you now have a new challenge. Over here. Put a few of them out. Fun. Content. Okay, here's our new creepy crawly guy. Grab some of its points. Its endpoint and its start point. And let's duplicate some extra ones of these, so we have some more things to fight. And they're going to be moving pretty slow too. Okay, this will work. This will work. Okay, let's hit play. Wait for our moving platform. We're going to head up. I would love some pickups, some different things to pick up here. Would even be fun if, as you're going up some of these platforms, you have to dodge maybe some flying enemies. You could create those the same way. Or you have some, these spheres, I mean, you could put some wings on them, and they would just be flying around. So here are the enemies. They're kind of sunk a little bit. But these are the ones, if I touch them, they should kill me. Let's test this out, though. And if I jump on them, I smash them. I smash them hard. And they're moving around, so they're a bit of a challenge. Let's see how this works. So I jumped on it, but this one, I still killed it. Apparently, I missed the death collision. Let's test this out. Let's lower one of these down to the bottom. Let's do it a little closely. So there's that enemy. Interesting. So it didn't reset the level. Let's look at it. Oh, we killed it first. We killed it. Oh, that's genius. So here's what happened. Because we have a half a second delay, so what happened was the player hits that, it creates the explosion of the character for both, but then before this delay can happen, it killed the actor, so that it stopped the whole process. So we need to fix that. We need to fix that, and here's how we're going to do it. we now need to create a failsafe here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take these guys. Okay, so we want to check if it's the player, see who's done it. But now, if we travel through this one, we want to essentially turn this one off. We want to stop each of them, so it's either one or the other, not both of them. These are those perfect troubleshooting moments. I didn't think I had to do this. I did this in class, but now I can see this has to happen. So we don't want all of this to happen to both scenarios. So to do that, there are a couple things in the blueprints that are like the level designers or the programmers like bread and butter. It's gates. Using gates and then sequences are like two of the most used blueprints. We're going to right click and we're going to click on gate. We basically want to say, if this happens, we want to go through it. So we're going to open up our gates. But gates are just like you think of them, just like a gate to your house. If it's closed, somebody can't get through. If it's open, somebody can get through. So we want to start with 2 open gates. But the first person to get through the gate essentially closes the other person's gate. So this is a competition between these 2 nodes. They're both trying to do the same thing. They're both trying to get through the gate and finish their assigned tasks. One of them wants to reset the level. One of them wants to kill the actor, basically kill itself. So we're gonna duplicate this gate, put it down here. So we have 2 open gates. We're checking to see if it's the player. If it is, we're going to see who can get through that gate first. So now what we want to do is we want to then execute these to their intended target, but I can't go and close this person's gate and connect it over here. It will only allow me 1 connection. So the way we get around that is we say, okay, we made it through the gate. Now we want it to do 2 things. We call this a sequence node because it does things in a sequence. We're going to add a pin to it because we want it to do 2 things. We say, first, we want you to close the other gate so that this one can't happen. And then, second, we want to finish what we started. So we're going to copy this sequence node, and we're going to do the same thing up here. If this one makes it through the gate first, we are going to close the opposite gate, and then we are going to finish what we started. Boom. All right, so this should fix that bug where we're not able to let that enemy hurt us. We're going to hit compile, hit play again, and here we go. So now, boom, it resets the level. It now hurts us, right? And I can stomp on his head. So just like that, we've completed. If you're in my class, next week's going to be awesome. We're going to play your gymnasium, your toy box levels, or your side scroller. Now you have 4 new tools in your arsenal. You have the coin, well, 5 total. You have the coin pickup like you created in class before to help entice the player to move around. You have spike traps. Those could be lava. They could be water. They could be a number of things that would kill the player. It could be fire to kill the player and reset the level. You have enemies moving around. You have moving platforms that are very versatile. You could change those around. Those moving platforms could be opening and closing a doorway. They could be pushing you off into the spike traps. It could be a block. It doesn't have to be a platform. A lot of cool, fun things to try out there. If you have any questions, reach out and let me know. But that is it. And you have enemies and enemies you can kill. So lots of stuff to play around with. Make them your own. Make them unique. Make them work with the level you're creating. They don't have to look exactly like the way I created them. That's the beautiful thing about video games. Is it's all just a reimagining of putting a new wrapper over existing mechanics. Ooh, and with that, my friends, I am out of breath. I'm losing my voice now. It's been a long week of teaching. Let's make ourselves pop in. For everybody watching, Mario Maker 2 Kaizo, Mortal Kombat makes Street Fighter look like child's play. I don't know. I think Mortal Kombat. I've always been a Street Fighter over Mortal Kombat myself. Call me crazy. Everybody over on Twitch, you're fantastic. How are y'all doing today? Everybody on YouTube, thanks for hanging out. Jeremias, how you doing? All right, everybody. Sorry I wasn't super interactive for this. This was a demo. So it is what it is. It's all good fun. All right, everybody, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you